Good evening, and welcome to another episode of Mother Diva's Special Segment Review. I am your host, Valencia Dantzler, aka Mother Diva, and Chicago is now facing another election. And I wanted to take this opportunity to give my picks for offices to be filled in the city of Chicago. Before I go into that, I have a special message that I would like to share and give to the mayoral candidates. In 2010, I went to the emergency room at Cook County Hospital. I was experiencing some emotional things that I was going through because I was preparing for Miami. Around this time of year, we go to Miami and house music for Miami Music Week. I was under a lot of pressure. I could not sleep for 3 days. So my family took me to the emergency room and I got a CAT scan. Well, I was released about a week later, went on with my life. And in 2015, I was diagnosed with sleep apnea and I started doing CPAP therapy. I no longer have sleep apnea because I lost 102 pounds. But when I was on the CPAP machine, I began to experience sinus headaches and acid reflux. I thought it was the CPAP machine. I went to the ENT. I was diagnosed with chronic sinusitis, eustachian tube dysfunction, and mild mucosal thickening of the ethmoid sinuses. So basically, I had a sinus disease. This sinus problem began to worsen. I did antibiotics. I've done sinus rinses. I've also had sinus surgery and eustachian tube dilation. And all the sinus surgery and eustachian tube dilation did was open me up to drain. I have tried everything I can, and I'm sure that there are other things that I can do to continue to reverse these conditions. These conditions have caused me severe dizziness. Every time I get up, I think I'm going to fall. It has just been a nightmare to live with. If you go back in some of my Facebook pages and you look at some of my pictures, you can actually see the drowsiness or the fatigue in my face. I try to hide it with makeup. Well, because of other issues that I experience, I'm dealing with chronic pain. So I went to Dr. Frank Urasek for acupuncture in Oak Park, who is an amazing acupuncture and acupressure doctor. And he also happens to be a doctor over at Cook County Stroger Hospital. And I go over there to see him for acupuncture. Moving right along, I just so happened last year to go into my medical records. And that CAT scan that I had in 2010 reflected that I had a sinus disease. And those dirty, low-down, satanic doctors at Cook County Hospital never told me. For 8 years, it was in my medical records, and they never told me that I had a sinus disease. And when I got on the CPAP therapy in 2015, I thought it was the CPAP machine that was causing the sinus problem. What the CPAP machine did, it exacerbated what was already there. So my message to all of you candidates that call yourself wanting to be the next mayor of Chicago, I would like for you to pledge that you will change hospital policies and procedures, that doctors will inform their patients of all incidental findings on any medical records. Because I'm suffering now. because someone did not tell me that I had a sinus disease. Had I known, I could have started trying to reverse it before symptoms showed up 5 years later. And I'm sure that there are people watching this video that have experienced the same thing. The second time it happened to me, I was experiencing severe abdominal pain. I went to the doctor, they scanned my abdominal, the results were normal. 9 months later, I'm going through my medical records and I see that I have a hiatal hernia. I said, where did this come from? You had your abdominal scan 9 months ago and it showed you had a small hiatal hernia. I immediately contacted my doctor at Advocate. And you know what she told me? That's not what we were looking for. It wasn't even on the initial report. So this is how these doctors treat you nowadays. If you swallow a quarter, they should be looking for a quarter. But if they find a dime, they're not going to tell you they found a dime because they're looking for a quarter. Something has to be done. There has to be a change made. When I ran into Toni Preckwinkle at Dr. Lena McLean's birthday party last year, her 90th birthday celebration, I told Toni Preckwinkle, who was the president of Cook County, I explained to her that I was very happy with Stroger's acupuncture in the pain clinic. Dr. Frank Urasek is a lifesaver. I said, however, I am battling a severe sinus disease because your doctors failed to tell me that I had a sinus disease in 2010. And you know what? She just looked at me with a sad face. She didn't offer her apologies. She didn't offer to take a meeting with me to see what kind of changes we can come up with to make things better. She didn't offer anything. Now, my issue started in 2010, and it was not under her leadership at that time. When she took office, it was her responsibility to meet with the team at Cook County Stroger Hospital and say, look, we need to make sure that we go through all of these medical records, that we inform the patients of what is in their medical records, make sure they're aware of their diagnoses. We need to clean this place up and get it together. So if Toni Preckwinkle did not have enough common courtesy or human compassion for my situation, I feel she is not fit to be the mayor of the city of Chicago. In fact, at this point, after everything that I've been through, I don't even know if I'm going to vote tomorrow. I am fed up. I am tired. I'm in a lot of pain. I am off balance. And I don't want people to suffer like I do. And I know some of y'all that know me, like Mother Diva, I didn't know you was going through all of this. You always look good. You always doing shows. But I don't always feel good, y'all. I don't. I don't feel good. Every day I get up, I think I'm going to fall because of my off balances due to my sinus condition. And I don't want anybody else to suffer. That's why I work so hard in house music to try to make a difference as a community activist, to try to help other people to save lives, because I don't want you to go through what I go through. On a daily basis, I have to deal with this, all because the people at Cook County Hospital never told me what was in my medical records. And yes, I could have looked in my medical records to see my records, but the doctor never came back and told me anything was wrong because they don't take sinus issues seriously. But if you do your research, you will find out that a severe sinus disease can cause a seizure, it can cause bacteria in the brain, and even in some cases, a stroke. There have been people who have died from sinus issues. There have been people who have committed suicide from sinus issues because they're so messed up here. This is how they're living their life constantly. It's serious. You got to stop messing with people's health. You got to be real. You got to care. And all you candidates out here going back and forth, attacking each other, the ones that's running for mayor, you're going back and forth, you're attacking each other. Stick with the issues. We need policies and procedures in place to make sure that all of the residents in the city of Chicago and Cook County are aware of what's in their medical records. And these doctors need to start telling their patients, I don't care if it's a piece of string, tell them so they can work on it. Had I known this earlier, I could have gotten some herbal remedies that I'm working with now. Had I known I had a hiatal hernia, I could have began the hernia exercises. You have to let people know what's going on. So, with that being said, I just want to go over some of the candidates that are running for mayor that actually I was interested in meeting with. So, these are the people that I sent an email to. First of all, I would like to thank Mr. Scott, who is the campaign manager for Dr. Willie Wilson. He was very vocal in communicating with me back and forth. Unfortunately, because I'm way out in the south suburbs most of the time, I could not get to meet Dr. Wilson. But I appreciate the fact that he did get back to me. Thank you, Ricky Hinton, for following up with me. I know the last conversation we had, you had not been able to get back to me, so I thank you for that. Okay, I reached out to Neil Sales Griffin. I emailed his office and I tweeted. I got no response. I also emailed Christina Corrigan, who is working with Amara, who's running for mayor. I sent an email to Ask Pilar. No one responded. Let me say this about Bob Fioretti. Bob Fioretti, I think he would serve us better as alderman or senator or a congressperson. Bob, I love you, but that's just my opinion. That's where I'm at with that. Susanna Mendoza, you can forget it, okay? Your people have lied to me and have treated me very unfairly. I worked my ass off for Susanna Mendoza 2 years ago, almost 3 years ago, when she was running the first time, and she was interested in working with me on some house music events. I wanted to do something at the State of Illinois building, and her people dropped the ball on that, told me that they couldn't do anything and all this kind of mess, so I'm through with her. Last but not least, I have been trying to reach Bill Daley. I don't know what's going on with his team. I have sent an email, just to give you an example, to info@BillDaleyForMayor.com. I spoke with Jeremy Jordan. I sent an email to him, no response. I sent an email to Heather Tarkson, no response. Jorge Neary, Sam Scott, all of these people work with Bill Daley. I got no response. I really wanted to sit down and have a conversation with Mr. Daley about the hospital policies and procedures and to interview him. I got no response. I got no cooperation. So you know what? To hell with it. I'm at this point, I'm really done. And I'm sending this video everywhere, letting people know what it is, because I'm just very disappointed and hurt at the fact that people are trying to reach out to you and you're not responding. It's very unprofessional. But my prediction is that there will be a runoff between Bill Daley and Toni Preckwinkle. That is my prediction. All I was trying to do was have a conversation. I invited these people out to some events, no response. If you can't make it, be courteous. Your team should have the decency to get back to people. So I would like to, on a positive note, endorse some people. But before I do that, if you live in the 15th ward in Chicago, do not vote for Joseph Williams III. He is not a person of his word. I spoke with him about sponsoring Daily Plaza. He said he would do it. He would send the payment. He never sent the payment. Then when we had another conversation about it, he said that it was all happening so fast and all these excuses. Here is where I'm at. When I produce events and I call somebody, I email you, I send you a proposal, and you say yes, you've made a commitment. You have the right to change your mind, but don't tell me yes, and then you're gonna tell me later on twice that you're gonna send payment, and then you never send it. So if you're lying to people who produce events at a court building downtown Chicago, what are you gonna do for the 15th ward? So he's out. Okay, I cannot say enough about this man. Alderman Walter Barnett, you are an angel. I love you. Thank you so much for supporting me at the Daily Plaza. You have done so much for me, and you're not even my alderman. And if you live in the 27th ward, please vote for Alderman Walter Barnett. That man cares about the community, and he works his ass off to handle that area over there. So please support him. Also, write in for the 28th ward, Justina Winfrey. Justina Winfrey is a community activist. She is bilingual. She is constantly in the community fighting for injustice. Write in Justina Winfrey if you live in the 28th ward. The 21st ward, I'm endorsing Alderman Howard Brookins to be reelected. His chief of staff, James Ramos, is a strong supporter of what I do at the Daily Plaza. And last but not least, if you're in the south suburbs in the Harvey, Illinois area, vote for Craig Abron for 2nd Ward Alderman. Vote for Craig Abron, 2nd Ward Alderman. So I didn't want to make this video too long. It's almost 20 minutes. I'm gonna, put it out there and see where it gets us. But I want you guys to just take heed to what I say. Please check your medical records, call your doctors, find out if there is anything in your medical records that you don't know about, because there could be some incidental findings that they didn't tell you about. And I just want to save lives. I just want to help save lives. I want to let you know my next project that I'm involved in, and then I'm going to sign off. But on March 28th, I just did a partnership with Walmart in Parkland, Florida, and I'm producing and hosting a gun violence prevention house/EDM music DJ set at the Walmart in Parkland, Florida, dedicated to the city of Parkland and the victims of the high school shooting. It's going to be Thursday, March 28th from noon to 6. If you all are interested in being a sponsor, please get in contact with me. Everything on me is at Mother Diva Show. My phone number is 310-927-8184. I'll also put that in the live as well. And I wish everybody a happy Tuesday. As you go to the polls, stay safe. Let's make sure all of the poll workers, the election board judges, and everybody are just doing their jobs. In fact, I just happen to be an election board judge. I'm actually the head judge this year in my ward. So I want to thank you guys for watching, and I pray that you have health and wellness, and hallelujah to you all.